Hi, everyone. It's Erica Ives, CEO and therapist at Mindfulpath. Hope all of you are staying safe and well. Today, we are really lucky to have Rachel Boyer with us, who is one of our wonderful therapists. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Erica. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, and I'm so happy you could be here today. And we are going to talk about Rachel's upcoming breathwork classes that she's starting virtually. And there'll be a lot of that up on our website, and we'll give you that information. But today we wanted to do an interview with Rachel so she can explain to you a little bit about what she does and the type of breath work. So actually, that's where I'm going to start, Rachel. I want to ask you, what's the basic premise of the type of breath work that you use, and how does it work?
Well, the type of breath work I do is a little bit different than a lot of the modalities that are out there because the breath work that I do is not facilitator led. It's led by what we call the inner healer or our own inner wisdom. So our breathwork sessions are entirely self-facilitated.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of the kind of breath work that we do is to help an individual get out of their egoic mind, get out of the chit chat that's always going on in your head, and connect with your body, connect with your heart, connect with your higher self, and connect with your own inner wisdom. And it's there that you find the answers that you need, you find the direction that you need, and it's a very profound, amazing experience.
Oh, that's beautiful. Just the way you described it. I love it. Can you say just a little bit more about how it works?
Sure, it's a very simple process. Breathwork's been around actually for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process by which we use music to help facilitate the journey, because it's a journey. Breathwork takes you into what I call non-ordinary states.
Mm-hmm.
Or altered, it takes you into an altered state of consciousness. And so it's done lying down or sitting down.
Okay.
It's always done with the eye mask on
All right.
and with music playing. We usually like to play the music rather loud because the music really helps to facilitate the journey. And what happens when one breathes, it's constant breathing. It's kind of circular breathing like this. And the breathing is done throughout the session, which is about an hour long.
Okay.
And what it does is it oxygenates your blood. And after 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more than 10 minutes, you drop, we call it dropping down, where you drop into this other state of consciousness. And once you're in that state, your ego tends to dissolve.
I am going to be in your first class. I will tell you that because that sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
What is the name of this breath work? What's it called?
I call it Transcendent Breathwork because when I first started doing breath work, people would ask me, so what is it like? And I said, well, it's having a transcendent experience.
Mm-hmm.
It is having an experience that is beyond this space-time realm that we live in. And it's really hard to describe. It's something that has to be experienced, but it's an amazing, beautiful experience. But there's a great big caveat to that as well, because what breathwork also does is it tends to release whatever emotions we have buried inside of us or repressed. And those emotions tend to come out. So breathwork is kind of like peeling back the layers of the onion. The process. And for me, anyway, personally, it was layer after layer after layer. I would have like this beautiful ecstatic experience one time, and then the next time I'd cry for the entire hour.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's a very intense experience for most people.
Very powerful. Very
Yes,
powerful. So you said a little bit about what the session looks like in regards to like your eyes being covered and laying down. But can you speak a little bit more to what a session actually looks like? Sorry, everyone, I'm at home right now, but you know the dog's in there. Go ahead.
Well, when we do it online, it's very simple. People lie on their beds. we do it through Zoom. And
Mm-hmm.
we first talk for 15 minutes, and I prepare people for the journey. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about breath work, what to expect, help people to understand, if you start crying, it's perfectly normal. If you feel certain difficult emotions coming up, that's also perfectly normal. We have this thing in breath work that we call welcoming everything that comes up.
Ah,
So whatever emotion comes up is exactly what's supposed to come up.
uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so we invite people to allow themselves to be open to whatever comes up, because naturally we want to avoid what we call negative feelings. Okay, if a lot of anxiety is coming up, I don't want to feel that and I want to push it away. But in breath work, we do the opposite.
Got it.
If I'm
Got it.
feeling anxiety, I want to feel as much anxiety as I can during this moment, because in breath work, the only way to get past something is to go through it. So we
Not
talk
not
about
around it and not over it and not under it, but through it.
through it, and it's a very scary
Yeah.
prospect for a lot of people.
Right.
So
Right.
we talk about breathing through, and for me, in the early years that I was doing breath work, this was a very difficult and scary prospect for me at times, because sometimes my core profound loneliness would come up, and I would just weep and weep and weep, and it seemed like it was endless. But I would just continue to breathe as much as I could. I'd weep, and then I would breathe, and I would breathe through it and continue to breathe through it. And sometimes it took several breathwork sessions to get through something, but the work was well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has a different experience, and every time you do breath work, it's different. So we also talk about not having any expectations when you go into breath work, because you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen, but it's trusting your own inner intelligence. It's trusting your own inner wisdom, because it's self-directed. Your own higher self knows exactly what you need,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
what you need is what's going to come up. It may not be what you want to come up,
Right.
but it's what's needed.
And
So
we know there's a difference between wants and needs, but that's another story.
yes.
Um, how does a session end?
Well, we have a trajectory
Mm-hmm.
trajectory in the music, where the music starts off with a kind of like a fast, intense, like tribal beat in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and it sort of flows through that, so that we the very beginning of the session, we encourage people to breathe, get as much air in and out of their lungs as they can, and just focus on just breathing for the first 15 minutes or so, until you drop in.
Got
And
it.
once you drop in, your body tends to take over, and the breathing sort of becomes almost automatic at that point.
Uh-huh.
And and then the music will flow into kind of mellower music in the middle, and then towards the end, it's more sort of gentle music, sometimes music with gentle chanting, feminine voices, that sort of thing, to sort of to help you land softly and to help you just to settle back into your body. And then we process the breathwork session afterwards. We spend 15 minutes afterwards processing and helping people to integrate, because the integration process afterwards is really the most important part.
Right.
Because as you well know, just having an experience does not equal change.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That is something, Rachel, for sure. You and I need to talk more about that concept right there, because it's super important and
Yeah.
relevant. Um, so, does this type of breath work help with like anxiety and depression? And we know so many people are struggling with that right now. Can you speak to that?
Well, yes. Whatever tends to come up in your session, if you have anxiety, chances are your anxiety is going to increase
Okay.
during the breathwork session. And so often, underneath the anxiety is pain, or grief, or anger. And as you breathe into it, you go deeper into the feeling. And as you go deeper into the feeling gets released.
Okay.
And oftentimes, it brings about profound change in a person's life, because sometimes people will get amazing insight
Uh-huh.
during breath work where they realize what their anxiety is actually all about.
And that's a little bit what the integration piece is about, right?
Yes,
Dealing with
yes,
whatever emerges during the session.
exactly. Yeah.
Right, right,
Yes.
right. What about trauma?
Trauma is definitely something that comes up during breath work.
Mm,
Most of us have suffered from trauma, and
sure.
most of what I've seen with other people and with myself is that trauma is definitely one of the layers that comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and it depending on where you're at, and I don't know, it just there's so many different factors. There's no like single thing that everybody goes through. It's because it's so different for everybody, but a lot of people process childhood trauma.
So will it
Yep.
help somebody to actually like recover?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So often, inner child work takes place during breath work as well,
Okay.
where we integrate with our inner child, we embrace and love the inner child. A profound sense of self-love is
Mhm.
often what happens when a person goes through a breathwork experience, like when they get to the other side.
Got it. All right. Right. When you get to the other side, can you speak a little bit, Rachel, about what it's done for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, about 4 years ago was the first time I've ever done breath work. And I was actually at a festival in the desert at the time. And I had no idea what breath work was. And my friend kept asking me, come on, Rachel, you got to try this. You got to try it. It's amazing. It's like, oh, breath work. Oh, it doesn't sound like that much fun to me. And after a couple of days, I finally went and we did an hour and a half breath work session in this big dome.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a life-changing experience for me, my very first breathwork session. I cried and cried and
Mm.
cried, and then I laughed and laughed and laughed, and I got in touch with my higher self and saw just the beauty of who I am, and it absolutely blew my mind. I'd never had a vision of myself, an experience of myself in that way before, and it also showed me how tied I was to my past, and how being tied to my past is what was causing me to remain stuck. Little did I know, and I saw when I came up from that breathwork experience, I felt like a new person. Little did I know that that was only the beginning of the journey.
So well stated. So well stated. The beginning of the journey. Beginning
Yes.
of the journey. And I am so excited for people out there to jump on this journey with you. And we are going to be posting all the information on our website, www.mindfulpath.com. There will be an event page, and you can sign up there. And we're going to charge by class, and we're going to do a very inexpensive subscription for the month. And again, there will be more information on the website. So I really want to thank Rachel for being with us today. Thank you,
It's
Rachel.
been a pleasure being here.
It has been a pleasure having you, and we will be speaking again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.